Hey, what's going on there, folks? Good afternoon, good morning to some out there. It's the Earthmaster on this beautiful Friday, April 7th, 2023. It's about 10:16 a.m. here along the West Coast, and looking at the latest earthquake activity out here on the globe. Shows a 3.8 earthquake coming into the area of Turkey. Seen a little bit of movement ramping up here this morning around the area that's seen those large damaging earthquakes here a few weeks back. All right, let's go ahead and jump into some earthquake activity out here in the state of Oklahoma. I want to make sure I'm recording. Yes, we are. I am still on my mobile device. Looking at the past 24 hours here, we got about 8 earthquakes in the vicinity of the OKC area in the beautiful state of Oklahoma. Outside of Chandler, seen a swarm of earthquake movement, and this all kicked off here yesterday from a 4 point, I believe it was a 4.4. Let me zoom in here and see what we got for activity. So this includes the last 7 days of earthquake activity, all magnitudes on the USGS map, and most of this just goes back to looks like the 4th, which is 3 days ago. So a lot of earthquake activity ramping up here, including that 4-pointer in Kearney, Oklahoma. I think they downgraded that from a, if I remember right, that was a 4.4. Maybe not, I think it was a 4.1, but either way, a little bit of activity definitely ramping up here into the Oklahoma area. And I was looking at the satellite view out here, and it's kind of hard to tell due to the vegetation if there is any pumping operations, fracking operations, wastewater disposal well operations out there. Somewhat hard to define when there's quite a bit of vegetation and trees and whatnot out here, but I was looking at the depths here, and they are very consistent with where we would expect the wastewater disposal operations to be at, roughly around 6 to 7 kilometers deep. So just kind of watching this area. It's not in a major seismically hazardous zone as far as fault systems go. Let me show you guys here real quick here in the Oklahoma area. U.S. hazard map here from the USGS here kind of shows it outside of the main seismically active zone far as fault systems go, which are more positioned down near the Lawton area, and got a couple hills, the Red Hills and whatnot down here further to the south and to the west. Is where we would see the typical fault systems, but looks like there's some type of operations going on out there into the Oklahoma area here recently in the past couple days. So only those that are probably involved in the process know about it specifically, except for those that have felt the earthquake. All right, activity out into the Texas area. Now these oil fields are definitely showing uptick in activity as well from yesterday. If you look at the satellite map here, had a couple earthquakes within quite a bit of these oil fields. You can see them all out here, scattered out and about the land, all these little checkered white marks out here within the vicinity of these earthquakes. Quite a few injection, or it looks like wastewater ponds out here as well, and there's a whole process involved in that operation to dispose of that. So yeah, a little bit of activity ramping up here into the southern plains and western Texas. Continue to watch that and see how that plays out throughout the day today, but can expect more of the same with the elevated uptick there in the oil fields. Around the California area, looks like general movement across the southern portion of the state. Anaheim area and the San Jacinto fault zone all showing some typical activity. I don't think we've seen any major uptick overnight. It doesn't look like anything above 2.5, aside from that one late last night near the San Andreas fault up there around the creeping segment from yesterday. Look at it in Northern California. A little bit quieter out here today, it looks like. Not a whole lot showing up across the map. Same for the Pacific Northwest. Yellowstone, not a whole lot popping up there. But for fun, let's go ahead and check that out. Make sure we got the latest info here from the Yellowstone area. Doesn't look like there's too much activity kicking up here according to the Yellowstone seismographs. Not a whole lot. All right, getting back here to the earthquake map. As we check out the rest of the globe, any large-scale movement overnight? Not that I'm seeing. A little bit of uptick around the Philippine plate, over here around Taiwan, and the Izu Trench and the Mariana Trench, all showing a slight uptick overnight. Also, the Sea of Osk area, 5.8 coming in yesterday, but it looks like there was another one coming in potentially overnight or early this morning. It looks like a 4.6 being reported there by the EMSC model, and that one's relatively deep as well, about 100 kilometers or so into the into that subduction zone. Let's see what else we have. Deep movement here across the Indonesia area. Notice these rings raised well off the globe. Looks like around the Banda Sea area showing some deeper movement. See what else we got here. Looks like deep activity returning to the Peru-Chile Trench as well. And look at the USGS map here. Just shows that earthquake coming in the past hour. 228 kilometers for that 4.3 near the Argentina area, underneath here, I should say, into the Peru-Chile Trench. So we'll watch this throughout the day today. All areas that have seen deeper movement in the past couple days should be on watch for further potential surface activity. That includes areas up around Tonga and the Kermadec Trench and New Zealand. New Zealand did see that earthquake yesterday, 4.5, relatively deep here. It looks like it's into the northern end of the Hikurangi subduction zone, 136 kilometers deep for that area. Let's see what we got here for the GeoNet servers. And see what they're reporting. Looks like 2.7 North Island. There's a 3.0. Looks like an hour or so ago. Here's the most recent quakes on the left. These are the felt reports, so you kind of have to monitor the all magnitudes and all events, which also sometimes include the deleted events. But these are the ones that may not have been felt but have been picked up on seismograph stations there. And not seeing a whole lot of elevated activity today, but we'll still watch that region of New Zealand considering the deeper movement from yesterday. Look at the earthquake drums here across the area. And most of the movement there from last night, the North Island area. Not seeing a whole lot of movement today though, but we'll continue to watch that and keep that area in mind. Let's see here. What do we got up here in China? I believe this was from yesterday, north of the Himalayas, up into this desert here, huge desert. 4.6 from yesterday. It looks like we did have a couple more earthquakes this morning, 5.0 and a 4.2 into the area of China up here around this mountain range, relatively shallow, about 10 kilometers deep. No major movement though to take note of. And of course around Turkey, still seeing quite a bit of activity here in this region of aftershock activity. See what we got for the Atlantic Ocean. Not a whole lot popping up there still. It's been relatively quiet across this area for some time. Let's see, Middle America Trench looks like it's still fairly active down here into the deeper levels. Quite a few fours kicking off there. Yeah, let's see, Hawaii's pretty quiet. Alaska's fairly quiet as well. So, all right, again, we'll keep an eye out on the deeper regions out here, which we've seen around this area of Indonesia and back building here across the Tonga area and the Kermadec Trench and the North Island, New Zealand area. We'll watch this today for some movement. And of course, North American plate with the oil fields out there showing some elevated earthquake activity. Obviously, that's a strain or a sign of some strain out here within the North American continent there. We'll keep that in mind as well. Let's see what else is there. Space weather movement or lack thereof. There's not a whole lot of activity, but I'm kind of curious to see what our newer sunspot looks like this morning. We can see it there showing up on the UV filter. Pretty bright over here on the southeastern limb of the sun, now rotating somewhat into view so we can get a little bit better look at this sunspot, which is named, well, I'm not for sure what it's named. I'm not seeing the numbers here on the website, maybe just on my end. But let's see what we got. Fairly complex looking, quite a bit more so than our exiting sunspot over here. That's going to be rotating off the visible disk here in the coming days, and we'll have to watch this one here pretty closely, as it does look like it's getting fairly unstable, possibly producing an M flare here very soon. Let's see what we've had overnight. Relatively stable across the board, no elevated flare activity, mostly in the C flare category, but noticing a little bit of uptick here in the last couple hours, so we'll watch that for some flaring throughout the day and the coming days as that massive sunspot rotates into view. 55% chance for C flare, M flare at 25% chance, X flare looks like about 5% or so. Proton event elevated around 5%. And let's see what else we have. I think that's about it. There is the mention of that solar flare from yesterday around the newer sunspot, which I believe that's going to be 3272. I'm not for sure why it's not showing up here on this map. Normally it does, but it's okay. We'll check it out a little bit later, folks. I think that's about it. I hope everyone out there enjoys their Friday. And me and Miss Mimi still out here doing a little bit of geology work here along the west coast, just kind of getting in on some studies here. So we're just continuing to work on that, and we'll of course be here providing updates. And of course, if anything does happen majorly, we'll jump on here on the channel and provide an update for the viewers. We'll catch you guys a little bit later on. Hope everyone has a good day. We'll see you guys back here tonight. Take care.